This is the brand new Apple Watch Series 11. It surprised many by Apple's crazy decision. It brings upgrades in ways that nobody was expecting. That's why in this video, I'll tell you everything that's new, use the Apple Watch Series 11 in the real world, but most importantly, I'll tell you why it's actually really useful. Let's talk about everything that's new first. So everybody was highly surprised and kind of disappointed when we saw the new features on the Apple Watch Series 11. Apple announced a brand new feature called Sleep Score, which basically brings everything that you love about sleep tracking, but in a more digestible design. Something that happened to me personally is that I always like to track my sleep with my Apple Watch, but then I woke up in the morning and I was presented with this, with a bunch of information that was a little bit too technical for me. I had a tough time comparing my sleep in order to know how I actually slept. And Apple totally changed that with Sleep Score. Apple brought the beauty of simplicity of the activity rings to the sleep app. Now, every morning, we can now look at our wrist and actually see how we slept with a score that goes from 0 to 100 that is very easy to understand. It will literally tell you if you slept good or not, and you can tap on information and will even provide you with more information on why you got that score. It's something that I've been asking Apple to do for the longest time, and it honestly has motivated me to not only sleep better, to obviously live a healthier life, but most importantly now, I can finally understand my sleep. Now, why did I say new feature? There was a lot of people that were upset that these features were actually coming to older models, which is crazy to think about, and I believe everybody's wrong. How amazing is it? And what other brand does this? If you've got a previous generation Apple Watch, like the recently announced Apple Watch Series 10, or even an Apple Watch Series 8, you're still going to have Sleep Score. You basically got your Apple Watch upgraded for free. Apple also announced a massive new health feature coming to Apple Watch, and that is hypertension notifications. So Apple Watch Series 11 can analyze patterns to flag possible chronic high blood pressure. The only thing you gotta do is basically wear your Apple Watch on your day-to-day basis, sleep with it, live with it, and if you get signs of hypertension, your Apple Watch will simply send you a notification. And this is another health feature that you kind of don't really need on your day-to-day basis until something happens to you. And once you get that notification, you can then go to the doctor. Like many other health features that the Apple Watch has, the Apple Watch over the years has taken health first. From checking your heart rate to receiving high heart rate notification, from measuring your blood oxygen to taking care of your ear health to literally taking an ECG right on your wrist. Step by step, Apple is quietly changing the health game. And once again, hypertension notifications are also available for previous generation Apple Watch. In fact, Apple Watch Series 9 and above will indeed get this hypertension notification, which once again is incredible news. So Apple has listened to us. What have we all wanted for the Apple Watch? Longer battery life. The Apple Watch Series 10 went up to 18 hours of battery life, and Apple has upgraded the Series 11 to last over 24 hours of normal use on Apple Watch Series 11. That is an entire day of usage, which is amazing when taking into consideration that 15 minutes of fast charging will give you 8 hours of usage. This changes things a lot on the Apple Watch. This makes you want to sleep track with your Apple Watch a lot more. This makes you want to use your Apple Watch a lot more. And especially for those that have a cellular connected Apple Watch, we all know how fast and how quick cellular drains your Apple Watch. So Apple upgrading the battery life is just phenomenal news. Apple upgraded the durability on the Series 10, and they've done it again with the Series 11. All Apple Watch Series 11 models will now have an upgraded INX glass, which is now coated with a ceramic layer, so it's 2 times more scratch resistant than the glass on Series 10. It's happened to a lot of us, including me, where I bang myself on the walls from my home constantly. So having that extra peace of mind that your glass will be okay is also a phenomenal upgrade. Apple also upgraded the Apple Watch Series 11's modem, which in my opinion is not really a big deal, and it's not something that we're gonna see on our day-to-day, but I'll tell you anyways, we now have 5G on the Series 11. The good news is that 5G is faster, but I guess most importantly, it's a little bit more efficient than 4G. Once again, not something massive and not something that you're gonna use on the day-to-day basis. Also available on Series 11 is new watch faces, like the Flow watch face, which is designed to bring the beauty of liquid glass to your wrist. It basically features this beautiful swirl of color that actually reacts to your movement. It is highly customizable to a bunch of different colors and styles, and it's become my favorite watch face right now on the watch. Apple also released the Exactograph watch face, which is a modern reimagination of a traditional regulator clock. What's cool about it is if you tap on it, it will break down with hours, minutes, and even seconds with this really awesome animation. Once again, highly customizable to any color or style. Since it's quite sunny outside and the sun is hitting the space gray actually perfect right now, I wanted to show you a quick hands-on on Apple's new color on the Apple Watch Series 11, and that is this new space gray finish. I feel like right now, check the sun out. It's very different than the previous generation since it's not as dark. It still looks great with dark Apple Watch bands like this one, but if you take a look at the back, you've got a black ceramic back and then the aluminum surrounding it. You've got a gray digital crown as well. It's a look that we actually had in the first ever Apple Watch back in 2014, and Apple has brought it back. I'm actually quite glad that they did because it's such a clean and beautiful and matte finish compared to the space black version. Depending on the look, whether you want a glossy look or a more matte finish, you've always got an option to fit your style. The Series 11 is simply the best Apple Watch that you can buy right now. Having all of those features that I use on a day-to-day basis, like very simple things like checking notifications. Notifications on Apple Watch is the reason I use my Apple Watch day after day. It allows me to be less on my phone and more on the world around me. It's something like receiving a phone call and being able to pick it up straight from my wrist, or replying to a text message using Scribble or the physical keyboard itself, or even sending a voice message. Something game-changing that I think I haven't talked about enough is the new ultra-wide display that actually came on the Series 10. I actually shot this image right here, and as you can see, it's kind of crazy how wide the display gets. The Series 11 just simply gets so bright and so wide, you can basically check your Apple Watch notifications in any angle, in any scenario, no matter how bright it is. And then on top of that, you add the brand new gestures, like the new flick gesture that was announced in watchOS 26, that simply lets you do like this to dismiss a notification. Gestures have simply changed the way that I use my Apple Watch from double tap to flick in instances like this, for example.
So I feel like gestures is something that is extremely underrated on the Apple Watch because there's so many instances that I personally go through them every single day. Maybe I've got a coffee in my hand, I'm holding my girlfriend's hand, or maybe I'm walking my dog. There's so many instances where usually your hands are busy. So take this coffee, for example. If I'd want to use my Apple Watch, I'd have to like stop myself and then use my other hand to do a simple action as replying to a phone call. But now, if I've got something in my hand, one, I can answer a phone call by simply double tapping. I can also dismiss a notification by doing the flick gesture.
Beyond notifications and gestures, the Apple Watch simply helps me live a healthier life. The activity rings are simply the best way that the Apple Watch gets you motivated. Your simple goal to close all of those 3 rings is simply addictive. The Apple Watch not only motivates you to be like a pro athlete, which is something that I know I'll never be, but it's more so I can move more throughout my day. Just so I can go on outdoor walks and put some music on my Apple Watch, put on some AirPods, and free from the world that we live in is game-changing. Being able to track any workout with the brand new redesigned workout app is incredible. You now have quick corner icons for metric, views, custom workouts, pacer media, and now the new Workout Buddy feature, which basically brings Apple Intelligence to the Apple Watch. It's basically like a little coach that motivates you whenever you run your first 10K. It will literally be like, hey, you're doing a good job. watchOS 26 also brought us tons of new features and new apps to the watch, like Smart Stack Hints, which basically surfaces relevant widgets in the Smart Stack. So whenever you open the camera app on your iPhone, you'll get a suggestion to open up the camera remote app on the watch. If you play music, it will automatically show up the music widget. If you play music on your iPhone, it will automatically show on the watch. We also got automatic volume adjustments. So basically, if you're in a quieter environment, for example, a movie theater or a library, if you forgot to put your Apple Watch on mute, if you get a message or a notification, it will lower the volume automatically. Or if you're out in a very busy street, the volume of the ringer will go crazy, so you can obviously hear it. Apple also launched the Notes app on the watch, so you can create, view, or pin notes right from your wrist. As soon as you create a note on your iPad, it will show up on the watch. And there's even Notes app complications on the the watch. So if you want to create a quick note and remember something, you can simply tap away and create that note by simply using your voice. And Apple has also brought liquid glass to the Apple Watch. I have to say it's not really that noticeable compared to the iPhone, because on the iPhone you feel liquid glass all over the UI. And on the Apple Watch, all of the icons have been redesigned to have that liquid glass design, which looks amazing. Scrolling down on notification, you can feel that liquidness as well. Going on control center, you'll feel all of that, but beyond that, it's not really that noticeable. And all of the other features, as I said, remain the same. The Apple Watch is my everyday convenience, from receiving notifications on my wrist, to tapping on places to pay with Apple Pay, to using navigation with Apple Maps, to step-by-step navigation. I'll get haptic feedback to know when I have to turn, to listening to music with my AirPods and Apple Watch, being able to stream and control playback on the go, using Apple Find My and being able to locate my iPhone with Ping My iPhone, which I know it's everyone's favorite. And it's the lifestyle and personalization aspect of the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch goes from aluminum to titanium with a bunch of different cases and bands, so you can highly customize any Apple Watch to match your style. And it's also the safety and peace of mind that the Apple Watch brings, from fall detection to car crash detection to simply calling emergency SOS just by a tap. There's a lot of reasons on why the Apple Watch is useful. So what's missing on the Apple Watch Series 11? What features was I expecting on this generation? Well, we've been hearing for the longest time in rumors and reports that blood glucose monitoring is coming to the Apple Watch. That is a feature that will change so many people's lives. And it's a feature that I was personally waiting for in this generation. I'm honestly hoping that we do get a pretty big redesign on the Apple Watch. It's not that the current Apple Watch design is bad, because last year's Series 10 got so much thinner and the bezels truly go edge to edge. But just like the iPhone 17 Pro has massively changed its design, I am waiting for that moment to come to the Apple Watch. We've had the same design language since the Series 1. I don't know if it's a circular watch or a more minimal or more rugged design, but it's something that we are all waiting for. So why doesn't Apple do it? Why isn't Apple constantly changing and adding so many features on the Apple Watch? The reason for that is very simple. Apple doesn't need to. The Apple Watch year after year is not only the most sold smartwatch in the world, but it's the most sold watch in the world. Just like the iPhone has so much competition and Apple truly feels that pressure. Just like AI has so much competition and obviously Apple feels that pressure, Apple doesn't feel that pressure for the competition with its smartwatch, with the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch is so far away from the competition. And obviously, if you have an iPhone, the Apple Watch is pretty much your only and the best choice that you can choose. The Apple Watch Series 11, with little new upgrades that it has, it is still the best smartwatch in the world. And Apple this year made the most complete lineup ever for Apple Watch. Apple announced 3 new Apple Watch this year, starting with SE 3, Series 11, and Ultra 3. Now, my question to you is, will you be upgrading to the Series 11? If you've got a Series 6 or Series 7, it's such a phenomenal upgrade. Or are you more interested in the Ultra 3? Let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed my review. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.